anti-racist thing where we have to look at our biases, so then that those implicit biases that we have in some are not so implicit, but what do we really think about children and how that comes through our instruction or even how we interact? The over friendly teachers that are super friendly, but they're not teaching their kids anything because they just want to be cool with them to not rock the boat. So I'm very proud of the direction that CPS is going in with us as administrators and teachers in really talking about this and really putting a concerted effort to get more resources that kids can connect to, because it's been around. It's not that our kids can't read or they can't engage. It just hasn't been there for them.
Yeah,
So
it has to be something that keeps them engaged, like you were saying earlier. Um, how many male black teachers are there? Do you know?
that's a great question. I don't know the numbers, but I can give you my take on it. Um, in elementary schools, you don't find that many black male teachers. You would probably find more in high school, right? You just would. But even then, I feel like because there are some cultural miscues and things that happen. So, for example, in CPS, where there used to be, because people have mishandled children, they are very strict with everything. So, uh, where people may elevate their voices, right? And sometimes in black families, in non-white families, voices are elevated. Kids are talked to a little differently. Um, so I think when you have males that are used to being an authority figure and they may raise their voice, they don't want to run a risk of getting written up or losing their job for doing things. Or if you have to say, hey, come here, I need to talk to you, and you may, nudge a kid or touch them, all of that stuff is off the table. You cannot have any of those interactions. So I think given the current climate of where we are, those things lend itself to there's no incentive for black men to teach unless they're fully supported. And let's say if there was a level of aggression that happens, that maybe it should be understood with context versus saying, oh, you're going to lose your job, or so I think that has happened. I do know that CPS is going towards restorative conversations, and so people that are into counseling and mentoring, they probably have been doing these things all anytime. Anyway, when you talk about having students self-correct and having them looking at what are some of those issues. But to be honest, a lot of people haven't bought into restorative practices like they need to, even though it's a great thing. But that's something that has to start, I would say, even in the home as early as 2 or 3.
Growing up in CPS, Chicago Public Schools, I don't recall having many black teachers that were men at all.
Yep.
When I lived in the South, I saw it all the time. I had, who did I have? I had Mr. Clark, Mr. Brent, Mr. Carpenter. I had so many different black teachers down there. And seeing that, you saw the level of respect also that the kids would have for the male figure within the classroom. When that period in the 90s, the early 90s, while I was down there, the learning was not very, but it was, I think a magnet school here would have been their regular school, like advanced classes. All that was just normal stuff for them. But they did have black teachers while I was there. When I came back up here and I got into school, I don't recall seeing many male.
Right.
I think until about high school.
Yep. High school is it. And I say even today, and I say this even around my white colleagues, my white principal friends, my white teacher friends, because I'm not here to make anybody comfortable. I speak in my truth and I listen in their truth respectfully. every kid of color, but every black child deserves a black teacher, and especially black male teachers. Black males need to see that there are black men that are doing this job, that care deeply and can impart some knowledge. So I do think that there has to be some work done to recruit more black men to go in the field of education, because you'll see a lot of black men that are like the support, in other words, like security. They may be a seeker. A seeker is the person that works as an assistant to the special education teacher, and black men can have so much more impact. Or you saw them as PE teachers,
Yeah.
which we know how people think of PE teachers. Well, we know that PE teachers can be mentors and, silent partners, but I'm talking about straight intellect. There are some black men that can do a phenomenal job.